Hi, Chief Detectives and grown-ups. Just a little pre-show heads up to say that this week's episode of Bust or Trust is a little gruesome and scary and might not be suitable for our youngest fans.
Hello and welcome to Bust or Trust, a kids' mystery podcast. I'm Tiernan.
And I'm Athena. Bust or Trust is the podcast where we unravel the world's greatest mysteries with help from you, our Chief Detectives.
We present all the best evidence and then ask you to decide. Which team are you on?
Are you a myth buster like me?
Or are you a myth truster like me? We look into all sorts of strange stories from around the world. No mystery is too big for us. Like, why do some items of clothing say one size fits all, but it wouldn't fit a baby or a dog?
Yeah, it would. It just wouldn't fit them very well. It doesn't say one size fits all perfectly, does it?
Wow, then really all clothes should say one size fits all. Sure, a kid's t-shirt wouldn't fit me as a t-shirt, but as a floppy hat, exactly. Anyway, we tell you at the end of the show just how to get in touch, so you can let us know if you're on Team Buster or the best one, Team Truster.
So, Chief Detectives, get ready to take notes and start putting together your case, while we have a quick word with the grown-ups.
Well, hello there, grown-ups. Did you know that we depend on your generosity and support to keep making Bust or Trust?
If you subscribe and support Bust or Trust on Patreon or Apple Podcasts, you'll get access to lots of lovely extras like weekly subscriber bonus episodes with extra evidence, ad-free listening and early access to all our episodes. More to come soon.
To support Bust or Trust, just click subscribe in Apple Podcasts or visit patreon.com/Bust or Trust podcast. Or for more information, visit our website at bustortrust.com.
The case.
Okay, Athena, I need your help with some important questions.
Sure, go for it.
Do you think ghosts only eat ghost food, like ghost peppers, or do they only eat food that rhymes with ghost, like toast or a Sunday roast?
Oh, I'm not sure. I don't really think ghosts eat. If they exist at all, that is. How would they digest the food? Actually, I don't want to know.
Good point. Another question. Are there ghost poops? This week's case of Phi Pop, the hungry ghost of Thailand, creates so many big unanswered ghost questions.
Does it? I think there's only one question our Chief Detectives will need to answer, and that's not, are there ghost poops? At least I hope not, or I'm worried about what your evidence might be. What do we already know about Phi Pop?
Phi Pop is what's known as a hungry ghost. It's not a ghost like you or I might think of, but more an ancient spirit or supernatural creature. It originates in Thailand, a country that's very well known for its amazing beaches and food, but also for taking ghosts very, very seriously. That's right, it's Team Truster all the way to Maya Bay, which is a beach in Thailand.
Okay, Chief Detectives, if you're a bit squeamish, maybe close your ears now. Because, according to stories and legends, Phi Pop is known as a hungry ghost because it likes to eat meat, particularly the insides of people or animals it possesses. Possession is what it's called when people believe a spirit has taken over someone's body and is controlling them.
It's believed that before Phi Pop eats people's inside bits, that it controls them, often making them do strange or mean things. As a result, Phi Pop has been blamed for a number of mysterious deaths in Thailand, as well as some very odd cases of people acting quite strange.
So, Chief Detectives, it's over to you. Do you think Phi Pop, the hungry ghost, is really taking control of people in Thailand and eating them from the inside? Or is there a more reasonable explanation for all the strange things going on?
Let's get stuck into the evidence.
First piece of evidence.
The first piece of evidence is the history of Phi Pop. According to traditional stories, the hungry ghost comes from an old legend. Are you all tucked in and comfortable, Chief Detectives? Then I'll begin story time. Once upon a time, there lived a prince.
Oh, this sounds like a really nice story. Should I get hot chocolate?
Maybe wait on that for a minute. This prince was obsessed with magic. By using spells, he found a way to enter people's bodies and take control of them by uttering a few magic words. But one day, the prince entered the body of an animal. His servant was listening in and copied the magic spell himself and then entered the body of the prince and became him. The real prince, now stuck inside the animal, panicked. He couldn't get back in his own body, now the servant was in there. So the prince entered the body of a bird and flew to his wife to tell her what had happened. The prince's wife was very cunning and she destroyed the body of the servant and then challenged the false prince to enter the body of an animal. He accepted the challenge and did it easily, but as the servant went into an animal's body, the prince took his chance and re-entered his own, becoming the prince again.
Hang on, so the prince is now the prince and the servant is an animal formerly known as prince?
Yeah, keep up, Athena. The servant tried to re-enter his original body, but it had been destroyed, leaving his spirit to roam the world from body to body, eating the insides to stay alive.
Wow, I'm glad I didn't get that hot chocolate. Like always though, Tiernan, it's a story. A good story at that, but it doesn't mean it's proof that Phi Pop exists, especially as it's about a magic prince who could turn into animals.
I know, Athena, you're right. I mean, if you could be a prince all day and eat royal food, why would you want to turn into a bird and have to eat birdseed and bugs? It doesn't make sense. But I was just telling you and the chief detectives the legend, which is from so long ago, no one is sure when it started. What we do know, though, is the first known case of Phi Pop possessing someone. It was in 1892 during the reign of King Rama V, when Thailand was known as the Kingdom of Siam. In an area that is now known as the city of Uttaradit, there was an old man named Tapueng. Very little was known about Tapueng, except that he was said to have had very pale white skin, and it was believed that he floated along the Nan River on a raft until he got to Uttaradit and came ashore. Tapueng then built himself a house behind a famous Buddhist temple. Not long after he arrived, 3 local young women died of unknown reasons, all quite quickly, one after the other. So it was decided that Tapueng was a hungry ghost, a Phi Pop, and they even wrote about it in a popular newspaper at the time.
That poor man. Just because those women died after he arrived doesn't mean he had anything to do with them. In the past, belief and superstition meant that when people didn't have a good explanation for something terrible happening, they would often point the blame at someone they believed had been possessed or was somehow evil. It's what's known as moral panic, where people believe an evil person or thing threatens them, even though they have no proof that is true. It is often kept going by the press and popular figures encouraging it. Was there any proof that Tapueng was a Phi Pop?
It doesn't seem so, no. But while I agree it's not nice to just blame people for things they haven't done, the second piece of evidence shows just why it's important to deal with Phi Pop as quickly as you can, as the hungry ghost is definitely not just an old folk tale.
Second piece of evidence.
There are a lot of reported cases of Phi Pop ghosts taking over people's bodies and either causing them to die mysteriously or do strange things. The tale of Tapueng was just the earliest recorded one, but there have been so many since. Here are a few of the more recent hungry ghost appearances. In 2002, Phi Pops caused chaos in a suburb of Thailand's capital city, Bangkok. Apparently the Pop looked like a monk holding a dog and a nun holding a cat. They were reported to the police many times. In 2012, 10 men died very suddenly in a village in Laos, the country to the right of Thailand. The deaths were blamed on a Phi Pop. In 2016, 2 women and 1 man were arrested after they made all their family members and neighbours take off all their clothes in the middle of a village. The 3 people said they felt overcome by a heavy presence that they believed was a Phi Pop taking over their bodies, and it made them threaten people before taking all their clothes and burning them in a pile because the ghost had told them to. Just a few months later that same year, officers of the Royal Thai Police Force were called out to a village in western Thailand to deal with a Phi Pop that had been causing trouble for months. The villagers said the ghost had killed 4 cows and caused 4 border police officers to fall ill. So the village leaders requested a police presence to prevent panic, and they turned up too. And that's only a few of the Phi Pop stories that have been reported.
I can see that clearly everyone takes these cases very seriously, especially if you need to report a nun holding a cat to the police. But so far, none of these stories prove that Phi Pop exists or was responsible for any of the deaths of cows or people. It's people blaming an evil spirit they have heard of and believe in when there is no other easy explanation. Certain parts of Thailand, particularly the upper northwest and central areas of the country, believe that pop is a social process. It's not just one thing that happens, but more like a whole process that affects the community, like a village or town. When someone or even an animal is thought to be a pop, they're asked to lead the community. It's kind of like saying, you can't stay here anymore. This is a way to deal with people who could cause problems or don't want to get along with others peacefully. It's a useful way to kick out troublemakers or people who don't want to live peacefully alongside others.
Maybe the Phi Pop finds it easier to possess troublemakers.
Have you tried to control a troublemaker? I think if ghosts were real, which they aren't, they'd find troublemakers much harder to possess compared to taking over someone who actually follows the rules and pays attention, like health and safety inspectors or teachers.
Well, piece of evidence number 3 shows the hungry ghost can't just be a handy tool to get rid of rascals.
Third piece of evidence.
The third piece of evidence is that Phi Pop isn't just a one-off ghost event. Belief in ghosts is very much part of Thai culture, and they believe in a lot of them too. Most ghosts in Thailand are seen as supernatural or ancestral spirits that interact with living people. Ancestral means they're from your family, and in this case, they're believed to be the spirits of people's long-past relatives or ancestors. Some of the ghosts are believed to be there to protect people, and some are there to cause harm. People in Thailand visit shrines to these spirits and appease them with offerings. The presence of ghosts and ghost encounters are a very regular occurrence. Back in 1997, for example, they started building some new buildings on the outskirts of the city Chiang Mai. But then, because of some big money problems happening in Thailand at the time, they had to stop building them. So even though nobody lived there because the buildings weren't finished, people started saying that they saw spooky shadows around. These shadows were thought to be bad spirits called Ithaigo. Some people even said they got really sick just from walking past the site. So they decided to leave the buildings unfinished, and now nobody wants to go near that area because they think it's full of bad energy from those spirits. It's like this weird empty spot in the city that everyone avoids because they're afraid of ghosts. So perhaps Thailand is just a very ghostly place, and Phi Pop is one of many.
I'm not sure I'd want to live on an abandoned building site full of shadowy figures either. There is a phrase in Thailand that says, do not believe, but do not offend the spirits. People in Thailand stay in touch with these traditional beliefs mostly because doing so gives them a sense of community and belonging. Some reports say only 5% of people in the country actually really believe in ghosts, and they are mostly people in rural areas. Those in more modern cities are less likely to think they need to visit shrines and keep the ghosts happy. I wouldn't dispute someone's beliefs, but again, it doesn't mean those incidents we mentioned before were Phi Pop. If anything, it just means that by being more spiritual and hearing stories about spirits like it, people may be more likely to blame things on a hungry ghost than finding a reasonable explanation.
OK, I do get what you mean, Athena, but that still leaves a lot of questions about ghosts in Thailand and the rest of the world.
Like what?
Well, we know what Phi Pop likes to eat, but what exactly do other hungry ghosts like? Hi, and welcome to the Spookery School with me, your host, Greg Armpits. And after last week's show where we showed you just how to cook a 5-course meal for a passing werewolf during a full moon, lots of you got in touch.
You've got to show us how to feed a hungry ghost.
I love the werewolf vid. Now do Phi Pop.
Show us what to cook for Phi Pop, Greg.
This video came up by accident. I can't turn it off. Please help. Thanks for that. Well, as you asked, this week we're going to feed a Phi Pop, or hungry ghost.
How are we going to do that then, Greg?
Joining me again today is my assistant Isabel. Well, Isabel, we were just going to let the Phi Pop possess you, then eat your insides, but apparently you weren't keen.
Oh, no thanks, Greg. Doesn't sound fun to me.
Either you commit to this show or you don't, OK? Oh, you just can't get the staff these days.
I'm not staff. You don't even pay me nothing, even though I keep asking.
Nice one, Isabel. You really make me laugh. So, of course, what we're going to do today is make a meal for Phi Pop another way. Ghosts are spirits, right? So what food do they like to eat?
Spaghetti.
No, absolutely not. This is a serious show, come on. They eat the ghosts of food. So earlier today, me and Isabel found some recently dead vegetables and pasta just for this video.
They just look gone off, Greg.
They were dead, OK? I waved a ghost collecting jar over them, collecting their spirits, and I have them here to make tonight's dinner for Phi Pop. Bring me the jar, Isabel.
Here you go.
There you go. I'll just tip these ghost aubergines, ghost carrots and ghost peppers onto this board, and I'll chop them up. Throw them into this pan full of ghost chopped tomatoes, ghost basil, ghost oregano and ghost olive oil.
There's nothing there, Greg.
And once that's cooked up, I'll pour the ghost mixture into this tray, layer the ghost pasta sheets and ghost cheese on top like so, and then bake it in the oven for 30 minutes.
Seems like a terrible waste of energy.
There we go, ghost lasagna ready for any Phi Pop who, Phi Pop's in for dinner.
I thought you said this was a serious show.
Shut up and give this a try.
Tastes like, nothing.
Next time, how to feed the Kamappa monster of South Africa that eats everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Spookery School, and you can also get one of our special t-shirts in ghost size only.
There's nothing there, Greg.
Be quiet. You are fired.
You can't fire me. You don't pay me anything.
Oh.
I would like to see 3 pieces of evidence to prove that ghost lasagna existed.
Oh, me too. Especially because if that's how it works, my fridge must be full of the ghosts of vegetables way past their sell-by date.
Our chief detectives don't need any instructions on how to cook up the answers to this case. It's time to decide. Has the Phi Pop ghost been causing trouble in Thailand for years? Or is it just an old tradition that helps villagers get rid of troublemakers?
Time to recap the evidence.
Evidence recap.
The first piece of evidence is the ancient legend of Phi Pop, about a prince who used spells to enter other people's and animals' bodies and tricked a servant who became a wandering ghost. There have been stories about Phi Pop for many years, like the tale of Tapueng, an old man accused of being a pop.
But the story is too fantastical to have any truth, and early examples of Phi Pop, like the story about Tapueng, sound like moral panic, where people can't find an easy explanation and so point the blame at an evil spirit instead.
The second piece of evidence is the many reported cases of Phi Pop across Thailand for many years. More recently, even the police have been called to help, and people have been claimed to be possessed by Phi Pop when doing mean things to others.
But none of these stories provide evidence that Phi Pop is real, and parts of Thailand believe Phi Pop is more of a social tool to help villagers get rid of people who are troublemakers.
The third piece of evidence is that Phi Pop is not the only ghost in Thailand. Many people believe there are a lot of ancestral spirits that protect or can harm them, and there are many stories where encounters with ghosts have affected the way people in the country live.
But most people in Thailand don't believe in ghosts, so much as enjoy the tradition of them, and their effect on everyday life is much less in the more modern cities around the country.
So now we're handing it over to you, Chief Detectives.
What do you think? Are you a Phi Pop myth buster?
Or a Phi Pop myth truster? Get in touch and let us know your thoughts, and most importantly, which side you're on. I think our Chief Detectives are hungry to get over to Team Truster for this case.
I think the only thing you'll be eating is your words when they all come to Team Buster. Send us your voice notes with an explanation of why you're a myth truster or myth buster when it comes to whether Phi Pop the Hungry Ghost has really been possessing people, or it's just a traditional social tool to help stop rascals.
All you have to do is ask your grown-ups to help you email us your voice notes or thoughts to hello@bustortrust.com.
Tell us your name, age, what you think all the evidence means, and please make sure your grown-ups give us permission to use your voice notes or emails in our next episode. You can also send us a question on Spotify Q&A, but please get permission from your parents and don't include any personal details so we can publish them safely. We won't always be able to use all of them.
Oh, but we love to hear them so much. And here are some thoughts from you lot, our Chief Detectives, on our past few episodes.
My name is Simon. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I am a myth truster because I think McKelly and Bembe could just be made of cartilage. I'm 5 years old. And I think all the evidence means that it really does exist. I really, really like your podcast.
Wow, Simon, thank you so much for listening to the podcast, and I'm so pleased that you like it. And look at all your scientific knowledge. Mekele Mbembe is made of cartilage, and that must be why he sort of slurps around the Amazon basin. I love it, and I agree, he must exist.
CJ has left a message on our Spotify Q&A after listening to the Bermuda Triangle episode. I go by CJ, and I'm 5 3/4. I'm a Bermuda Triangle buster because it's all nonsense. Sorry, Tiernan, you're pickles.
I'm Pickles?
Your pickles. And
Do you know
CJ
what,
says it. so
Athena,
you
that
are.
explains why I'm sitting in a jar all the time.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Soaking in
thank
vinegar.
you, CJ. That's actually, do you know what? You've helped me solve my case.
I'm going to put you in a sandwich.
Please don't put me in a sandwich. Wait, hang on. Is it cheese sandwich?
Nevin left a comment on our Spotify Q&A after listening to the Chupacabra episode. Athena, whenever you tell that it is another animal, it has 2 fangs, whilst Tiernan and other reports stated 3 holes in the sheep or goat. So I'm on Team Truster. P.S. Please read this on the newest episode. We read it and you said please. So we had to read it out, didn't we? But you used evidence. You're right. If something has 2 fangs, but there are 3 holes in the animal, then someone's wrong somewhere, and you have decided that it's me that's wrong.
Yeah, well,
which is the thing you're wrong about.
Nevin, that is some fantastic detective work, and Nevin is absolutely right. You only mentioned 2-fanged animals, and the chupacabra has 3 holes in it, and there's not a single mammal out there that has 3 teeth or more. So it must be a magical creature like the chupacabra. I mean, I think I've only got 2 teeth. How many do you
I
have?
would say when someone's on Team Truster, you shouldn't talk like that and make them change their minds. I would suggest you just say thank you for being on Team Truster.
Thank you for being on
That's
Team
my-
Truster, Nevin.
I think that works better. What brilliant comments. I think we've got the smartest listeners ever.
They are absolutely amazing. And if you enjoyed the show, please follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify or Amazon Music, or wherever you listen to your podcasts for more great episodes. We love to hear what you think, so please do rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It helps more detectives find, bust or trust. And of course, we'll read out some of the comments on the show.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more Bust or Trust.
OK, Athena, I'm being inspired by Phi Pop, and I have a massive pie dish that I should be able to lie in, and then 15 packets of pastry. Do you think that's enough?
For what? What are you doing?
We're making a pie that I can eat from the inside out. It'll be amazing.
Hang on a minute. So let me get this straight. You get in it, then make the pie around you.
That is the idea.
So what happens when it goes in the oven then?
Well, it bakes. Oh, I see. Yeah, that could be a problem.
Yeah, what about we use the pie dish as a massive snack bowl instead? I think that would be safer and easier.
Am I allowed to dive headfirst into it?
If you have to.
Yes, woohoo, best day ever.